It's time to hit the streets and clean up the corruption in one of the most revived genres in retro gaming. I'm Kutski, and this is my review of Breakneck City on Nintendo Switch.
Get ready!
There have been tons of new retro-inspired beat-em-ups in recent years. Scott Pilgrim, River City Girls, and of course the masterpiece, Streets of Rage 4. But they all seem to take the same 2D sprite-based influence. Breakneck City throws back to a slightly more modern, early 3D polygon aesthetic, reminiscent of games like Die Hard Arcade on the Sega Saturn. It's an interesting choice because I think most people agree that 2D sprite art has aged much better than the early 3D look, but as I mentioned, there are so many of these new pixel art brawlers. The oversaturated low poly look of Breakneck City was actually quite refreshing to me. You can choose between two playable characters, Sydney and Justine, who play pretty much the same from what I can tell, and hit the streets to rid the city of corporate corruption. It's not an Oscar-worthy narrative, but I don't think it needs to be for this genre of game. Breakneck City plays like your standard side-scrolling beat-em-up, and when I say standard, I mean as bare bones as you can get, unfortunately. There are jump, punch and kick buttons, all with very limited application. You can perform a 3-hit combo with a punch, aerial attacks with the jump, and a solo kick, but that really is it. There's no complex combo system, no grapples, throws, specials. This makes the combat start to feel stale pretty quickly. The one unique mechanic in the game is the slide. You can use the right thumbstick to endlessly and somewhat inexplicably glide around the play area at hyperspeed. Despite the odd-looking animation, it's actually super useful to get out of corners filled with enemies, but I do feel that it could have been expanded upon. You can use it to interact with some of the scenery for attacks like spinning around a lamppost or a stripper pole, and you can use some of the elements of the environment to dispatch of enemies, although lining this up can be frustrating if you're trying to do it intentionally, but it's a nice touch when it just happens by accident. There are a nice selection of weapons you can pick up along the way, such as pipes, bats, knives, swords, and even guns, but I could never reliably fire the guns. Pressing the punch attack simply pointed the gun for a brief moment, but after some experimentation with the control, I managed to fire them by pressing the punch and kick buttons together, but this didn't seem to work every time, even when I had ammo. I'm not sure if this was a bug in the game or if I'm missing something, but there was no on-screen prompt or any documentation to explain the controls better. And this pretty much summed up my experience with Breakneck City, to be honest. Everything about the game felt very bare bones and unpolished. It felt like a cool game that just needed some extra time to be fully fleshed out. A bit more polish to the UI, deeper combat system, fixing some of the very glitchy AI and overall performance of the game. Breakneck City isn't terrible, and that sounds like an insult, but I really don't mean it as one. There's a lot that I like about the game, but everything I thought that was cool and interesting had a caveat of feeling generally unfinished. If this was an early access game, I'd be really excited to see how the finished version turned out, but at the moment, with so many great alternatives in the same genre available, sadly it's difficult to recommend Breakneck City as it is at version 1.0 at launch. Hope you enjoyed this review and found it informative. If so, please drop me a like on the video, that helps out a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you would like to keep up to date with any future gaming videos. And let me know in the comments what your favourite classic brawler from back in the day is. Mine's still Golden Axe. Simple, but I never get tired of it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Kutski signing out, keeping the games alive.